Greetings. Welcome to Speak Nerd and Enter.
Welcome, Speak Nerd and Enter. On the far side there, is Mark. Mark, give a wave. Hey, Rich sitting next to me. Rich, give a wave. All right. And look, Willie. Kitty's got claws. It's the K-Man. Does anybody remember what that was from?
I do not.
One of my favorite movies. V for Vendetta.
Oh my God.
In the beginning, oh, look, Willie. Kitty's got claws. From the Chancellor's Fingerman. So, gents, it's been a little while. I know I have gone on expedition this week to, I guess I would say an adventure of, an adventure. Let's leave it at that. Let's save the adjectives till later. Of seeing Predator Badlands, as was my homework, as given by the K-Man. Old Kitty got claws there. I wanted to know, what did you guys think of that? Because I've been fans of Predator for forever. I think we'd all agree that the first one was the best.
Oh yeah.
You know, and the other outings and the other excursions into the Prairie des Predators have been of varying success, mostly on the downside, I would say, after that. But I wanted to see, what did you think? let's start. Let's start with our resident Michael Bay.
I'm assuming you were referring to me. I saw it last night, as a matter of fact. I did my homework on the way home, went and caught a matinee. My wife took the kids to see Wicked, so at the very least, we could say I got out of that. So
I'm laughing,
like I said,
because, of course, I saw the trailer for Wicked as I was sitting there waiting for Predator. So, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, I'm apathetic about the entire outing. There were pieces that I was like, oh, okay, I enjoy that. There were parts of it that were like, oh, I see where they're going. It was not a Predator movie, right? And they tried to make too much of giving us some insight into Predator culture, right? And, and the dad and the big brother, and I'm going to go and avenge my big brother. Like, all of that just felt unnecessary. And in fact, it did damage to the Predator mythos in my mind. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't need to, I like when he just shows up and he's hunting big game. We don't need backstory. Like, I don't care about the hunter that shot Bambi's mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need his backstory.
Right.
But having said that, like, oh, it went from, like, if we're going to throw all that out the window, okay, now we've got this, synthetic chick, the comic relief, person, and I was like, oh, okay, I see where they're going with that kind of, but why would you design a synthetic? Like, in all the previous outings, the synthetics were very straight. You know what I mean? Like, they had a mission that took them away from what they were doing for the other people, but they weren't cracking jokes. They weren't funny. They would shut up and not talk. So, like, it ended up being this kind of, the Predator ends up with Timon and Pumbaa, in exile at the end kind of thing. And, it was a movie. That was definitely a movie.
Yeah. All right, Rich, what do you think?
I haven't done the homework, so move along. Although I hear there's a baby.
Oh, I forgot to ask, Mark, how many Michael Bays, how many explosions do you give it?
Out of 5? One and a
Yeah.
half.
How many bumblebees? How many? How
How
many?
many bumble? Yeah,
How many
I think
bumblebees
this
being
does
dragged?
not
How
deserve
many
any Michael
star
Bays. This
screams?
is going to get a bumblebee.
It's a
Does it
bumblebee.
get any star screams or Megatrons?
It's a bumblebee
Yeah, there's
being,
zero
being pulled by a
Megatrons.
tow truck.
One and a half bumblebees.
All right, 1.5 bumblebees. All right. Okay, man. What say ye?
I was pretty sure you guys were going to go watch this movie, so I went to go see it just because I actually resigned myself to it.
Yeah.
I tried to rope in Indy to go see it with me, but ended up going by myself. I've seen a lot of bad movies in my time. This one isn't the worst one I've seen. I'll be honest. It's on the list, but it's not the worst one. I spent a lot of the movie just looking at my phone and trying to time out how much was left and debating whether or not I can legitimately leave. But I stuck it out. I stuck it out to the end, and glad I did. Not because of the story, but just the will to persevere.
The endurance.
I'm with Mark on this one, 110%. There, and you, Sean. The first Predator movie was great, absolutely great for what it was. It was fantastic, and then it's just been a one-way ticket to hell from there. And this hasn't made it any better. I don't need to know the Predator sort of cultural dynamic. I don't need to know, the family dynamic. I don't care. I don't care. It's like I don't care about the aliens either. I don't want to know the backstory of the xenomorph. I don't care where it came from. I don't care that it doesn't want to be on Earth. I want to watch it slaughter things. And as soon as you find out that the one synthetic is made by Wayland Yutani, and I'm like, oh, for the love of God, we've made a tie-in to Alien Earth, and I'm done. I mean, it was at that point I started to wonder, is it worth it to just go get more popcorn just so I don't have to sit here? So I think at a number of K-Mans, I give it maybe a quarter of a K-Man, and that's it.
1/4.
How many? What was the name of that thing they were after? The Karisk or whatever, the Calic or whatever the hell it was.
Cowlick.
Whatever it was, yeah. How many of those do you give it? How many baby Calics or whatever the hell they were do you give it?
No more than a quarter. No more than a quarter. Because I'm sorry, what is everybody afraid of the animal for? Like all the predators are fearful of this ant. I'm like, and why?
I don't know.
It wasn't that hard to defeat.
No, it wasn't. No. It wasn't. No, it wasn't. You know what was impossible to defeat? That plucky predator's determination.
That's that and the razor grass. But the
yeah, the razor.
His
glass.
biggest fight was with
Grass.
plants.
you know what I want to see Predator fight? The Thing. That's what I want to see Predator fight.
Here's my take on all this stuff, because I was talking about this up at work the other day. My boss at work was saying he did not like Predator, didn't like Badlands, and I brought up Alien Earth and how I didn't like that either, and he said, yeah, I don't like that either. And I said, here's the problem. I think humans, by and large, not all, but by and large, the large swath of those that are in humanity, who create, who do all those things, and that sort of stuff, they hate the idea of humanity not being the determiner of its own future, and not being at the top of the food chain, and not being the powerhouse behind all efforts, like in Star Trek. For some reason, the Vulcans show up here and suddenly humanity is the leader of Starfleet. I don't get that. All these other planets have been in this union of planets for however long, waiting for us to jump on the ball and get the warp drive and all that. And then we get it, they show up, and suddenly we're in charge. I don't
Hey, if the
understand
Vulcans
that.
don't like it, they can make their own Star Trek show.
Yeah. So, but I would contend that humans humans do not like not knowing, not being in control, and not feeling like they're in charge of their own destiny, right?
Yeah.
The beauty, however, of Alien and Predator is the fact that it takes away all control that way. You know, the idea that this creature who is just an absolute abomination to everything that we are and believe and all of that, and it's such a violation of who we are in every biological sense. It's just disturbing on so many levels that that first Alien movie. That's why it was so unsettling. It wasn't that it was a horror flick. I mean, there have been plenty of horror flicks where people have been eaten and killed and all that stuff. It was the fact that this thing was such a perversion of all that we are that way.
It invaded you.
Yeah, and used you and used you. You were nothing more than meat and sexual gratification, you know, in equal measure. And that's disturbing on so many levels. That's what made it such a great villain. And it was unknowable because it did not care that you knew anything about it or not. Didn't care. You were nothing more than meat and, as I said, to be used. That was it. The Predator was the same way, but in our conquering side, right? Our ability to become the apex predator and all of this and control our environs and all of that. And now we are nothing more than the lion, the bison, all of those that are to be hunted for nothing more than just, hey, you got a nice skull. They don't even eat you. They just violate you to take the skull because they like having it mounted on the wall. That's it. And you're not even the deadliest prey. The idea being they go all over the place and take out stuff that's way more dangerous than us. This is just a stepping stone on how you can get to be a better hunter,
Yeah.
And as you said, Kelly, and I think Mark may have touched on it. If he didn't, he was stupid not to.
Damn you.
That we don't care. I would contend it's not that we don't care about the predators' culture or life or any of that, but rather that the mystery of it is what was so intriguing. We didn't know, and that's what made it so cool. This thing showed up out of nowhere, brutal, savage, just vicious, and yet has this incredible technology, and almost like an artist's take on technology that was just fascinating and unknowable, right? All of the other movies that they've made in the Alien and Predator franchise have been a descent after those original high bars, a descent into making these creatures either our friends or our pets. And that takes away all intimidation, all fascination, all coolness, all of the mystery that goes with those creatures. And now they just become, regular run-of-the-mill affair for storytelling. It becomes nothing more than a dog or a horse or just some convenient ally. Like you were saying, the whole thing about, oh, my dad doesn't like me and he's killed my brother, now I'm going to show them what for, that kind of thing. It just feels very, very Avatar-like in its execution. And to me, no matter how much you dress it up, no matter how cool you try to make the other creatures and all this stuff, it doesn't have a core anymore. Now it's just, regular cinematic fare. And I find that kind of boring. So yes, it had some cool parts, mostly in the art direction and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But the rest of it, I was like,
unimpressive. Unimpressive and everything. I mean, there was no suspense in that. You know how it's going to work out. What would have been interesting is had the main character died. Like 10 minutes in, when he gets to the death world, had he just died, and then the whole thing just goes off into the left field somewhere. That would have been more interesting than what happened.
Yeah, but I'll be honest with you, they never should have had, what was his name? Keck or whatever it was. Never should have had him as the main character.
Nope.
Never. I don't want to see that Predator. That's not the Predator I want. The Predator is supposed to be everything we aspire to, but he actually achieved it. He's not overconfident. He knows because he is able to do. We don't,
Yeah.
and that's what makes him so terrifying.
Although
This dude,
I will say that I think my opinion was mildly influenced by the fact that I kept thinking the word plucky as I watched the movie.
yeah, yep,
I couldn't escape that. I was like, Sean keeps
yeah,
referring to him as plucky.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's what he
He
was.
looked
He was
very
plucky.
plucky.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And his sidekick C3PO-esque, bot who's on his back, constantly, oh, what a drag, that kind of crap, the old C3PO kind of jokes that you'd get, I'm barely containing my frustration at all of that. And then the little space monkey shows up. And with its big eyes and all of that, now the predator's chasing him. They got this fun little chase going through the woods after this big bison-esque thing and all of that. And then I told Helena, as soon as the big one showed up, I said, "Oh, that's the child.
Mhm.
That's what that is."
Yeah.
I was like, "Come on, you can't be more obvious."
Although, okay, so amidst all the criticism, I do want to give him one thing, and that's the big creature they were going after. The regenerative powers of that was something I didn't expect. And I was like,
Mhm.
well, now that's interesting. That's interesting. And then they killed it in the dumbest way possible.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean. I told Helena that I compare what's the dude's name who did Predator? What's his name? The Prey and then
Trachtenberg?
Killer of Killers and the one who's doing it now.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, dang it, what is his name? I can't remember his name. But the dude who's doing the Predator stuff now, right? The from Prey, Killer of Killers, and then this. I told
Trachtenberg.
Helena, what's that?
Trachtenberg.
Trachtenberg. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You got it.
He reminds me, I told Helena this when we left and she was asking me what I thought of it. I said, he reminds me so much of, what's his name from Star Wars? Dave Filoni? Is that his name? The
Yeah.
one who did like Clone Wars and all that, right?
Yep.
It reminds me so much of him. You can tell he does love the IP. He loves the IP and he really wants to do it service. He does. But the problem is that most of the stuff he throws against the wall is Jar Jar Binks and Queen Amidala, and no one wants that. And then every now and again, he'll get a Darth Maul moment where he'll have like a really cool arc with Darth Maul, and you're like, wow, that was awesome. That was really cool. Like Darth Maul taking over the entire underworld. And you're like, man, that was amazing. In 2 days, the dude cut the heads off of every major crime family, and now he's running, business, right? That was great. But there's so much stuff that's awful that goes along with it that I'm like, it's maybe fan fiction-esque kind of thing. This comes across to me like that. The best thing I can say about it is that Keck didn't die to a 16-year-old girl or an aging cop in LA or any of the others. At least he didn't go out like that. But, I didn't dig it, man.
So it seems like everything where he wrote the story has been lackluster. The one thing that he did where he was the director but had no responsibility for the story of the producer was 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I actually liked that movie.
Oh, Cloverfield Lane?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. And I can understand that. I see that. Like Zack Snyder when he had to direct other people's stuff, like 300 and Watchmen, I think he did a good job. But as soon as he's out writing his own stuff, then it gets a little dicey,
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah. So I feel like with him and Filoni and Trachtenberg, I think that's kind of what you get. And it just bummed me out, man. It bums me out because you're taming what was a really cool creature. I will never forget the first time I saw Predator coming out of the water and going after Schwarzenegger, and Schwarzenegger was, laying up against that log with mud on him. And I just thought, well, if he sees you, you're dead. there's no Schwarzenegger-esque moments or anything like that. They're going to save his ass. He's done. That was a cool feeling, knowing that he was outmatched. He was totally outmatched. And this was a threat they hadn't dealt with before. Same kind of thing with the Thing. You know, the
Yeah.
Thing, if it had continued on, if anybody else had done stuff for that, and kind of did with the follow-up one, but we won't talk about that. But it would have gone the same route. Somehow the Thing would have become like Schnarf, or I don't know, some version of the Wonder Twins, where it just turns into things.
No, but it is that thing, and I think
Wow.
it's the thing that misses on all of these, right? Is the idea. I mean, it's what you said. It's the idea of the thing. It's the unknowable thing, the unstoppable thing. In Alien, when the synthetic when they had killed him and then they brought him back to ask him questions. I forget his name.
Ash.
That's right. And he said, you can't defeat it. It's perfect. Right. And that's that idea of like, oh my God, I'm facing something that's going to outmatch me in every possible way, and was capable of doing that. But it is that thing where everybody finds a way to screw it up because they want to somehow, they want to humanize the Thing. They want to turn it into some sort of knowable. Oh, it didn't ask to be here. It's a victim of circumstance. And like, no, dude, it is an apex predator.
Yeah.
It's just what it does.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. It always turns into they have to make us the bad guys. And look, humans are bad guys. I'm not going to argue that point. I just find us boring as bad guys. It's like Superman fighting Lex Luthor. I hate Lex Luthor. He's a human. He's a human.
Yeah.
Superman is going to beat the piss out of any human being who tries to beat him. You can bring up Batman and all of them as much as you want. If you really get down to it, Superman is going to push the planet into the sun and Batman's going to burn up. And that's it. Ain't dick he can do about it. He's going to be dead because he sucks compared to Superman, right? The Thing, Alien, the Predator, all of those should outclass us just completely.
Yeah.
That's where things get scary. Like being in the water with, a great white circling you. You're not going to make it your friend. You're not going to turn it into a pet or an ally or any of that stuff. It's not going to happen. You are outclassed. And for some reason, we just as human beings hate having that kind of perpetuating story. We'll take it for a moment, but then we have to make it something familiar, like in the Godzilla movies where you have the expert, show up. Oh, this is just like a big toad. If we put this stuff out there, we'll be able to catch it because it reacts like this. Human beings suck. And if we get into a movie where human beings have the chance to suck like human beings do, we feel uncomfortable. We feel out of our element and unsure and unsteady. But those are the movies that are most memorable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why everyone I see who talks about these movies says, they just can't capture the same thing they had with the first one. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why, just drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. And it was so close, if you think about it, to what I would
I will
like.
say this coming out of that movie, I didn't feel anything. Like I watched House of Dynamite based on Kelly saying he watched it, and that at the very least got an emotional reaction from me that I felt the need to comment on. Right, and I was like, some things upset me about that movie, or parts of it were good. This one was cotton candy wrapped up in a movie.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I didn't come out of that going, oh, what was that one cool scene, or the cool thing that I really liked? Like there was a couple things that were cool in it, just like there were cool things in, say, the Avatar movies. But on the whole, I'm not talking about that 6 months later. Like, oh man, you remember that thing? I'm not quoting it like I am, Tombstone and some of the other movies that are eminently quotable, Napoleon Dynamite, whatever. Like it didn't leave any impression. It was like a footstep in a puddle, right? As soon as I leave the movie, water rushes back in, and it was like, yep, check that off the list, did my homework, cool. And that's the problem. Like I get what I could see where they were going with it, with some of the comedic and some of the beats, and like I get it from a storytelling standpoint, but it's time to stop trying to appease everyone
Yeah.
and tell a Predator story, not Timon and Pumbaa coming back triumphant with the new Lion King, because that's what this felt like. He runs off, goes on this adventure, and comes back with a couple of new friends, and it's going to set the kingdom right or something. I didn't need any of that. It was just, and don't get me started on this super advanced technology. It looks like he's living in a tent out in the desert.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a crazy,
you guys have
crazy
ships, and you can fly all over the place, and it looks like you live in sci-fi Mad Maxville or something.
Yeah.
I get so tired of the energy bow and energy slingshots and all of that stuff. It just brings me right back to humanity. You can't think of something better than that? Come on. And this is the thing. The dude made Prey. Prey arguably was head and shoulders above what this was. Prey was at least, so much closer to what a Predator movie would be. Yes, I was pissed off at some of those other things, like the ending and the whole, axe being or hatchet being thrown in trees and all that stuff. But the Predator itself was very Predator-esque, And this, I don't get it, man. This was like, just going full in on trying to make it familiar and all of that. And tell me why they would be so interested in Predator technology and all of that, because they can't figure it out, they don't know it, they can't, all this stuff, and yet somehow they know all about Predator society. They're sitting there saying, what was it? Aren't you guys supposed to weed out all the weak ones and all of this stuff and everything? They're talking, I've studied Yahuas all over the place and I can speak it and all of that. How is this a mysterious people? How is this people you don't know their technology and yet you know everything else about them? How is that possible? How'd you sneak up on them to sit there and watch them from the bushes without them
They've
knowing
been coming to
about
Earth since the 1980s.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, man. After Predator, every weapon the Predators have used has been just a race to the dumbest version of something that could ever be. How did they ever build a ship to travel, through space if that's the stuff they're coming to the table with? The first Predator obviously left with all the best equipment, and everybody else left on the homeworld has had crap since.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was one of the things you mentioned, that his brother throws him in the spaceship. It takes off, and I guess he's knocked out for the entire ride, and he wakes up right as they're doing re-entry, and the little cracks on the windshield, and and I was just like, and then he ejects, and he's riding like a little motorcycle scooter that is open to the air, and I'm like, yeah, that would totally kill you. You're going Mach 7. You're burning up in the atmosphere, and then he hits a button, and it doesn't enclose him. It just puts like a little, T-top on top of him.
Don't think about it.
This is the dumbest escape pod ever.
Now, see, that's where it could have saved itself. At that moment, the plucky Predator dies on re-entry, burns up because he's stupid, and then something else happens. Absolutely anything. It could have been fucking Muppet Babies on that planet at that point, and it would have been a better movie.
Why couldn't the father have just killed them?
He shows up to kill the Predator, apex Predator, and it's Snuffleupagus.
See, now that would have been great if they'd have hunted the Snuffleupagus. That would have been amazing. The big bird and the Snuffleupagus. I wanted to see the father out on a hunt. He should have killed both of them, taken the ship, and gone out to celebrate by doing a hunt. That dude looked like he was a cool character, and yet by the end, they have him doing the usual, oh, don't kill me, you're a part of the clan now. You could be, obviously, the best son lived, and all that stuff. What kind of pussy race is this? You've turned them into chumps. What the hell? Where's the badass dudes that, were supposed to be so scary? These guys are just like us. I don't feel any fear from them anymore. I feel bored, like Mark said. I left there, I felt like, okay, well, that's already mostly forgotten. The only reason I remembered any of it was so I could sit here and rant.
Yeah.
No,
it was a regrettable outing to the movies. There's money I'll never get back.
You guys are
And
convincing
I
me.
know. Over time, I needed some kind. If you're going to explore, and I think this is a terrible idea. If we're going to explore predator society, in this movie or whatever, just saying that like we're predators to everyone and we're prey to none. Like, okay, that's your Sun Tzu quote in the beginning. Yeah, man, you need to give them some kind of Bushido code that we can. It's different than the way we think, but we understand it, right? In the way we look at the samurai and the ninja and stuff like that. Like, as Westerners, we're like, oh, that's really cool, but like, we don't live by that same kind of code and things. We're not going to commit suicide because we failed on our mission, and we can't handle the shame the way this other culture might look at things, right? So that's an example. If you're going to do something with predator culture, just don't set the dad up as a bad guy so he can get killed at the end.
Yeah.
And like that doesn't tell me anything about your culture, right? There are things that you can admire about samurai culture, right? Bushido, whatever we want to say that, even if we don't identify it or choose to live by it or whatever, like get it, we're like, oh, that's really cool, and there's some really neat aspects of that. Great, sci-fi that mess up and give me something I can work with these predators. You know what I mean? Like if it's I'm gonna go out and get some honor by hunting these big creatures or whatever, like, and they tried a little bit like, oh, I'm gonna go hunt the biggest, baddest thing I can find. Okay, well that's phoning it in, but I get it. But they didn't give us that. They just gave us like I don't know, they kill everyone all the time, including family members. We got to kill the runt. We can't show any weakness. I'm like, that's not building a mythos that I could be like, wow, that's really cool. That's just this guy's bad. And again, I came out of this movie feeling nothing, and that makes me more upset than anything else. It's a Predator movie. I should feel something.
I feel thankful that the Predator learned the value of diverse teamwork to overcome adversity of parental figures in major corporations.
That's right. And learn that because a synthetic taught him about a wolf.
Well, yeah, exactly. Sean, your audio's really messy. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm really glad he learned the concept of a wolf pack and an alpha after one conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got it like that. Bam.
Right.
Done.
Right.
Lesson
She
learned.
could have at least thrown up a hollow of what's that movie where they go to Vegas and the dude gets them all roofied and they can't find their buddy and they're running around looking for him. He's like, you guys are all in my wolf pack now. What's that movie?
Hangover.
Yeah, the Hangover. Right. If she'd at least showed him that, I think he'd get it. He's like, oh, we're in a wolf pack now. Let's do this.
Yeah. I don't know. Rough outing.
You've all convinced me that my decision was correct.
You were correct. Yes, I'm the one who made the bad decision here. I finally caved and like.
I saw this because of you. You went and saw it. You did the homework. I was like, all right, fine, I'll go see it.
I know. I take responsibility. I also told you.
I actually canceled my AMC membership because I wasn't using it enough.
Did you really?
Because the theaters, like, there's one on my way home, but I never, like, hardly ever stop on my way home and go see a movie by myself. And the other two are pretty far away. Like, I got to drive 30, 40 minutes to get to one. And I'm just like, all right, I'm not doing a 2-hour movie on top of a 45-minute round trip. And, like, who's got 4 hours to waste for a movie when they all come out on streaming in 3 weeks? But it hasn't ended yet. Like, I canceled it and it's going to end on like the 30th or something. So I was like, all right, well, it still doesn't cost me anything. I'll go see it. So,
yeah.
I'll still watch it when it comes out on whatever.
Yeah, just make sure you watch it for free. Not worth paying for. No, it was either that. I needed something. It's a shame.
How much did they spend on this dumb movie? Like you're gonna spend that kind of money and.
No, it was either go to see this or it was to go to see Running Man because I just needed to get out of the house, and I figured this is the one that you all are most likely to see. And the first Running Man was awful, so I didn't really feel like seeing a remake.
Rising $225 to $275 million.
Oh my God!
Estimated.
All right, so we're gonna call that 250.
250. I'm gonna need about 250.
I need about 250.
Wow. I hope
you
they
know,
kept the receipt.
and Kelly said it looked great, right? You know what I mean? The effects were good. Although I will say this, like they're on this alien planet, and then when we get close up, it looks like you're in Nevada or Oklahoma or something. Like
Yeah.
it didn't look alien at all, except on the long shots. And then
Yeah.
of course, like, oh, we put this spiky grass, we've got these wacky vines that attack you. Like clearly some CGI stuff, but for the most part, they didn't look like they were on an alien world for a lot of the shots. You know what I mean? Like the trees are trees.
Alien world.
And the grass is grass, and say that about the Avatar movies, that looked like an alien landscape. Because it's all CGI created, but they take that into account. You know what I mean?
I will say that the best version of that they've done, Predators, which I do like very much. I like that one.
Predators I liked, except for the fact that, again, this was the only problem I had with it, was that they made an ally of a predator. Stop it with that, Stop.
Yeah.
stop giving that there's this civil war between tribes and all this and that kind of crap. Just leave them as the predators. They're just they don't need our help. It's not like going into camp and here's the dude tied up. I'll let you go if you help us. If you get us a ship to leave, then I'll let you down. That kind of crap, and then turn into erstwhile compatriots until the end. And then somehow, what's his face with the big nose is using fire to kill the massive predator.
Well, no, I mean, Sean, it's what you said earlier. Look, we are just the prey at that moment. They're just the hunter. I mean, we're the deer. And it's the end of the year, and somebody's got a bag limit, and you're it. So
and that's the thing that frustrates me, man, is that we so badly do not want to be the deer that even in our artistic fantasy, stories, we can't stand having that. Here was one set where you're just prey and all that. No, can't have that. Got to have something different in the next one. Next one, we're going to rectify that crap. And we're going to keep doing it until at the end, we're best friends. And we've got a little space monkey that we can take along with us.
I'm waiting for how they do the combination here between Alien Earth and Predator now that they've, made the connection to the Weyland-Yutani folks. And I just, that part of the movie came up. I just was fearful of what would happen next.
Yeah.
And I think rightfully so. But yeah. I will say, and not that anybody cares because I'm nobody's particular demographic anymore, but
you're my demographic, Kelly. Don't get it wrong.
Thank you. That means a lot. But no, I'm out on the Predator franchise at this point. To hell with it. Don't care.
They don't know what they're doing. They really don't. They don't know how to. They don't know how to tell stories anymore. So they're just flailing about. They're like, oh, we have this thing. We're going to put it in this predator-shaped box, but they don't know how to tell the story. It seems to be the same problem over and over. The story just goes like Alien Earth. It's getting a second season, by the way.
It is? Did they make the announcement on that?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
What announcement? I missed that part.
Alien Earth season 2.
Okay, say again. All after Alien Earth season 2.
It's coming. They're going to make one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like I thought there was news. I knew that.
Oh no.
I thought you were saying like they canceled it because the first one did bad or something.
No,
like
confirmed.
We know there's going to be a season 2.
Yeah, it was not confirmed they were going to do a season 2. But now they are.
Oh, it wasn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Nope.
This is my shock face.
So we get more Peter Pan. Yay!
No, now it's going to turn. Now what it's going to do is turn into. Yeah. No, it's going to turn into Wizard of Oz, where. She's doing her thing. Yep. She's going to be doing her thing, and now the Predator is her friend, and so is the alien, and so is a little space monkey, and all of that stuff. And it's.
Hey, I just want to see what happens to the eyeball thing.
Well, yeah, they haven't really explored.
See, that's what frustrates me. How cool could this whole endeavor have been if it had stayed on that adult, darker side and you just start introducing these other creatures and, that would have been a cool exercise. But this,
Right. You want to
this
talk about
is
man's hubris? We went out and found the most dangerous things possible, brought them back here, crashed the ship out of greed, and these things got loose. Freaking Pandora's box of a horrible alien. And by the end of season 3, it's a ragtag band of survivors who are who are just trying to not get eaten.
that would have been a great story. I really would have loved to have seen, like with this Predator one. Remember I was telling you how cool it would be just to have a movie with no humans in it at all? How cool would it have been to see a Predator just going to a death planet and going on his hunt? Never seen something like that before.
Right.
Never.
Yeah, give me some subtitles. Right? No English, just give me some Predator subtitles. I'm here for it. Be like a foreign movie.
But you keep getting people. I can hear it in the the boardrooms where they're saying, well, there has to be someone who's relatable. What's the human element in this? There's got to be some human story, some
I don't believe it.
Now, what if it was synthetic alien sisters, who one of them turns out to be like super bad because she's doing her job?
Well, that would be perfect, because then the Predator could go in and kill all the synthetics and no one has to feel icky about it because they're not human. And you can be really disgusting, and
Right,
we'll still be
yeah.
able to keep it as a PG-13 because they're not human. And she can be his best friend. It can be like three amigos. At first they meet, they hate each other, but then they become friends.
You're shocking me.
Yeah. And then comes the fight against El Guapo.
El Guapo. Yep, that's exactly right. Yep. And they're going to capture this
I
big
did
animal,
like
and
how a
then
lot of
they'll
the
realize-
synthetics were identical twins. Like they all look the same.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, okay, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, but how does
But
one
just,
synthetic
it
speak
didn't
the
sell
language and the others
for me,
don't?
but
How what?
How does one
because
synthetic
she
speak
was
the language and the
different.
others
Her
don't?
job was to study predators. Those other guys there to look good and shoot guns.
I don't know, Kelly. You're asking a lot of things like I asked about how do you know all about predators and yet know nothing about their technology. And there's so many holes in that thing.
And the giant cargo lifter at the end, or whatever the hell it was that she was piloting when
Get away from her, you bitch.
in the final fight, right? Exactly. A
I
nod
half
to aliens.
expected somebody to.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they resisted that urge. Probably filmed it, but somebody cut it and left it on the cutting room floor.
It's going to be in a director's cut somewhere.
Well, didn't they do that same joke with the brother in the Alien movie? Didn't they pull that one? The Alien, what's the one where they're around the planet? The latest one.
Yeah,
on the planet,
on the space station that's crashing into the
yeah.
Oh, Romulus.
Yeah, I know the one.
Didn't they do that same joke with the brother? Get away from her, you.
No, that was the.
No, it wasn't a joke. It was a callback, and it was very serious, and it landed perfectly.
Synthetic. And by the way, the dude who played the synthetic out of Romulus, he did a great job. Yeah. He was awesome.
Yeah.
That one gets 4 bumblebees from Mark.
That's being generous.
Romulus at least tried to be disturbing.
His performance gets 5 bumblebees. That guy did a great job.
At least Romulus tried to be disturbing. That was the thing. At least it tried that. Yeah. They didn't come out of there with a pack of little, alien baby kittens, I don't know.
Yeah, and it was kind of cool to now you're afraid of just face huggers. Like in one scene where you're running face huggers, you're like, that's disturbing. Normally you think of these big giant aliens that are going to grab you, but to think about running away from the face huggers, like, it did something that we've seen before, but it gave me some new things as well. I enjoyed that until the end.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. So what are you guys looking forward to now? What's the...
Well, I was telling the guys that I've been watching It Welcome to Derry, and I have been happy with it. It's been not a waste of time. So
I don't like it.
I know, but
okay. I caught the first 3 epissods of Pluribus on Apple TV, which is from Vince Gilligan, who did obviously Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. And that was a good time. It was a very good time. So
I am
All right.
looking forward to the fact that they're doing a new Legacy of Monsters season 2 with Kurt and Wyatt Russell on Apple TV. That's coming out next year.
I have to support everything Kurt Russell does.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what he does from
Yep.
now on till the day he, finally leaves this mortal coil.
Shuffles off his jack.
That's right. I have to support every
Okay.
endeavor he is in. He was worth it. He deserves it. Captain Ron alone would do it. Yet you have all of his
Snake
cinematography
Plissken
or
is
cinema.
the one for me.
What is it? Resume, file, works? I don't know. Whatever it is. You have his yeah. Yeah, that's that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, Jack Burton, Snake Plissken, McCready, just all of the characters he's ever been. He deserves all of that, and I will never say a bad word about a movie he's ever been on. Ever.
And his son was great.
Stuntman Mike.
His son is Captain America. He was still right. I still think he's blameless. He's blameless. He needed to kill that terrorist. It was 100% in the right.
Yeah, right. They
argue.
just dropped a second movie trailer for Project Hail Mary, which is coming out, I think, in March of next year. So, read the book. Same guy that did The Martian, Andy Weir, who wrote the book.
Okay.
What was it? Ryan Gosling's going to be in the
Yeah.
lead. Like the second trailer, you get to look at the alien. I'm really looking forward to that. I hope that is anywhere close to being as good as the book or the movie The Martian. I think that's going to be a really good time. That is probably what I'm looking forward to.
I like
upcoming.
Ryan Gosling. I like him.
Mhm.
He does the stoic character very well. I like him. Yeah, I like him.
His name Jeff.
Well, I
Isn't that the
think
same
of
guy?
think of him in but he's got range. I remember him with
Yeah.
Lars and the Real Girl, and then you think about him in Drive, and just really good range that way for someone who plays a stoic most of the time. He does a pretty good job with that. And Halo, don't forget about that. That's going to be coming out, I guess, sometime soon, right?
Yeah,
No, I thought that was 2026. You're talking about the
combat,
remake, right?
Combat
what's its actual
campaign
name?
involved. I think is what
Campaign
they're calling
Evolved.
it.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they said 2026, but they didn't get any more specific about that.
Well, that to me,
yes,
that's kind
I'm
of
very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, and it's supposed to have 4-player co-op for the campaign.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if they pull it off right, I understand it's just an announcement. But let's assume they do a good job, right? We get the Halo experience with the updated graphics and the 4-player and this. This is how you give us nostalgia. Right? You give us this 20-year-old game remastered, add some new things that, like, I'm here for it right now. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I will take off work and go to GameStop at midnight, like I've done for previous Halo releases, to get this game and
We won't be
play
going to
it.
GameStop.
I am
because it'll
100% here for it.
be bankrupt at that point.
I agree with you, Mark. Yeah.
Speaking of GameStop, on days when the weather's bad, I go and I walk at the mall because you can get in early. And there were some folks lined up at the GameStop over there the other day. Had their lawn chairs out, things like that, waiting for them to open. But it was only like 5 people. And I thought, why do you have to stand in line? The store's not going to sell out of that much material that you 5 people can't get copies. Why are you here this early? Go home.
The experience.
Right, but I look back fondly on it was Halo 2 and 3 that I took the day off work, went to the midnight release to pick up my copy, went home and played Halo all night. Like, that was a good time.
With Borderlands.
And do you have to do that now? No, the game downloads. You don't have to physically go get it. In fact, whatever. But that was fun. That was an experience that we got to have that a lot of us enjoyed. And like I said, just giving us this nostalgia. Like, I get it from a corporate standpoint. You're like, oh, we could redo this thing, this IP that we already own. It's not a zero effort thing. Like, we're going to release Snow White on VHS, and then we're going to do it on Laserdisc, and then we're going to do it on DVD, and we're going to do it on streaming. They didn't put any more effort into that, really. They're just re-releasing old content that they put a lot of effort into up front, but they get to re-release. This doesn't feel like that. you're remaking the whole game in Unreal Engine, which wasn't what it originally came out on, and you're adding in some new content, and you're doing this 4-person co-op, and I get to play a game that I love and get the nostalgia. I'm like, yes, all of that. Put that together. And I do the same thing with Call of Duty World at War Zombies.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to the Call of Duty movie.
Call of Duty.
Well, there's a movie.
Was there gonna be a movie?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Knew nothing about this.
Yeah, Helene and I
I
were talking
bet
about that.
I'm going to go on record and say right now it's going to be better than the Borderlands movie.
I don't know, man. I won't say it'll be any worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I just told her, I
It's
said,
going to be a bunch
look,
of dudes running around shooting people. That's going to be better than the Borderlands movie.
well, I told Helene, I said, look, we never played Call of Duty for the campaign. We never did that.
No, the campaign
only-
never made any sense.
No, it never did. And I said, we just played it for the multiplayer, really, and that was it. We didn't even play the campaign together that much because, like you said, it didn't make sense and it was frustrating and just kind
you
of
just
dumb.
a bunch of missions. Like,
Yeah, you
I get
just-
to shoot people on a plane. I get to shoot people in a building. I get to shoot people in this rail yard.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, with Call of Duty, you just ran around until somebody betrayed you, and then you figured, okay, next chapter. And, it was just to get to the end. The only one that made sense was World at War, because that had like a whole thing to it. But the rest,
But it never, Call of Duty never felt as good as Halo. Halo always felt the controls, just the way it felt really good, intuitive, and the other ones just never felt quite that way. So I hope the Unreal Engine really works. You don't lose any of that control in there. I know it'll look better, but I'm hoping the controls still feel the same, especially for the vehicle.
It's got to feel the same. Yeah.
Right. It was the thing that was really weird though, was that Halo, I agree, was a better game, but man, did they caved quick to Call of Duty to try to become like that.
Yeah. That was because Bungie. Bungie
To
was
its
gone.
detriment, the later games and whatever, like I don't feel they stood up as well as the earlier.
No,
games.
but then you saw.
But I will say this: Halo playing the campaign was awesome, and Halo doing the multiplayer was awesome.
Mhm.
I have fond memories of both.
Mhm.
Whereas Call of Duty was like, let's get together with my friends and
Go
do
camp
the
out in the
matches
house
and
and piss off people.
I'll say this again: Halo 3, which it was, really the last. Well, Reach and ODST were the last efforts of Bungie. Pretty much the core group, not the core group. Core group was pretty much to 3, but up until ODST was still Bungie-esque. But 3 was the pinnacle. That was amazing because you had all of you could sit there and record and go back and watch and show other guys what you had done and all that. Dude, that was amazing. If there was a golden time of multiplayer, that was it. Remember, you could do a screenshot of something that you liked from one of your videos and put it up there on your profile, and you got all your medals and all that. And I remember I had one of me sticking somebody in the face with a plasma grenade. He was in a car full of people in a warthog, and I stuck him on the face with a plasma grenade as he was riding by, and that was my screenshot. I loved that one. There was just so many cool moments, or Paul shooting me in the head, and stuff like that. That was just so Halo, and I haven't had another game that has that same thing anymore. The Borderlands, which I don't think you liked, Mark, if I remember right. You didn't like that.
Yeah, I didn't. I was not into that type of it had the very RPG mechanic of all of your inventory and you upgrading these skills and things like that.
Yes.
I prefer just the first-person shooter stuff. I just want to get on and play, not do a campaign where I'm leveling up my character.
But see, for that type of game, and I know you weren't a fan of it, but for that type of game, Borderlands 2 was the penultimate version of that.
Oh, yeah.
That was amazing. That was great. Going through that with Drew, and it's just, and Drew having to check every single container, everything, Oh, I gotta look. Drew, that's just got like a $20 in it. You don't need that. I gotta open it up. It's, it's just how he was, right? There's so many cool things in there that I enjoyed doing. And even though many of the characters sucked and we just didn't like them, but the game itself was so much fun. And Halo was like that for me with the multiplayer and the campaign. So I really, really hope that just like Lord of the Rings, this is the one property that they do it right and allow it to shine. Because that documentary thing, that behind the scenes thing that I sent you guys, that really bummed me out. Really bummed me out about how Bungie fell, and it was so predictable and so sad, and it just really upset me. But it made it so much sense because, like you said, Mark, you had that benchmark, but then after that, real quick, they sold off and became like Call of Duty, in so many ways. And I really, 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 really hope that they've decided, okay, got to make money. We better go back to what worked, and just bring out the old one just refurbished, because I'm cool with that. Just make it look great,
Yeah, especially coming like we know the story, we know some of the levels, like being able to see, I know it's not the multiplayer, but like who wouldn't want to run around Blood Gold?
Yeah.
Souped up. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, let's do this, and can't wait to meet Guilty Spark again and see how that goes. So that's
Dude, I can't wait. Honestly, doing 4-player co-op going through the library, oh, that would be amazing. You know how frustrating the library could be on your own, and then even if you had 2 people doing the split screen co-op stuff, how frustrating it was. Having 4 people in there, that would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah. All right. Well, good. We get to end on a high note. I'm glad. We have Halo to look forward to. God bless Halo. When we get to heaven, that's what it's going to be. 4-player co-op in Halo.
High standards.
That's right. Well, it is a high standard if you think about it. We could get there, and it's all this other crap. So,
Bruce.
All right. Thank you, boys. I appreciate it. Was there something we were supposed to be checking out before the next one? Or no? Okay, so that was it, right?
Not from where to be determined.
Yeah, I hadn't seen
Running
anything.
Man. We'll all go.
Running Man. That's it.
So I'm going to see Running Man and Aries.
Running Man. Yeah, Running Man with the Hangman. That's right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, boys, and I will see you all next time. Till then, get out.
Bye-bye.
This concludes our Speak Nerd and Enter broadcast.